Hey YouTube, this is the Purple One, and this is a boots on the ground report, but it's more like what have I been seeing for these many weeks, and what has all this data. This is, I still have more. This is data. What am I thinking about going on? I've jotted just a few little notes, just pretty much just categories, so I don't miss any category. But I want to give you what I think is happening to the economy. This is my opinion based off of what I've reported and based off of emails I've gotten that people have asked me not to share. If they ask me not to share, I do not share it. I sometimes can wait a couple days and all of a sudden someone else says it, or it's an open source, and then I can say it, but I never say anything that someone says, hey, don't share it. I respect the information that you give me. But let's get right into it. This is my opinion of what's going on based on this data that I've been taking in. First of all, let's just go over the economy. What I've been seeing through reports, and this is first-hand reports, not what I'm getting off the news, but what I'm taking in from you guys. The economy is definitely in a recession, and I'm basing that off of your reports of no money, things are costing more, the employment, what you're telling me. So the slowdown is here. It is definitely, we're in a recession. The Federal Reserve needs to get control over the inflation, but they cannot get control over the inflation because we went ahead and printed all that money. We sent out all those checks for everyone to get their free money. And what we're doing is paying for that right now. We watered down the money supply, making it a lot less potent. So it's taking more of that dollar to buy everything in the store. There's nothing really the Federal Reserve can do about it until it works its way through the system. They can adjust interest rates and raise them higher. And what they're doing is they're killing the housing market. The housing market is going to crash. Right now, people are selling their homes, taking that money, and instantaneously buying a house in a safer environment, a safer state, a safer city. That's what's happening. Eventually, that's going to stop. So you have those people with money from the sale, and then you have people that have no money that are renting, and the rent is killing them. It's going up, 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 and up, and that's the result of printing money. A lot of people are going to suffer from this. A lot of people are going to be homeless from this until we can figure out what people can afford in rent. The employment picture. I'm getting not a lot, but I'm getting a solid 10 probably reports of people that are telling me, Dave, I'm putting resumes out there, I'm making calls, I'm doing my part. No one is returning my calls. No one is giving me an interview. So I find that very strange. A few people said maybe it's connected to the free money businesses got, that they have to try to get back to their level of employment. I don't know, but that's what people are saying, and I could agree with that. Now, granted, if you go to Burger King or a fast food joint, they're hiring. But let's push aside the fast food, something that someone has to actually make a living to support a family out of. If you're working at Burger King to support a family, it's going to be very difficult for you. And you know it if you're doing it right now. A lot of businesses lost a lot of workers when they shut down. I think businesses have realized they can work you harder, and they have worked you harder, and the company can make more money by not bringing back more workers. What I'm seeing from the start of this, I had very few reports of people having their hours cut. A lot of people were working full-time with some required overtime. You had to work overtime. Some had the option of working overtime. People were getting lots of hours into work. The overtime was nice. A lot of them said it. What I'm seeing now is because of the logistical supply problems, people have been cut back at work. Some are just cut back to 40 hours. So they're fully employed, but they're not doing the 60 hours. So that's like a half a position that has been eliminated. That extra 20 hours is a half a person worth of work. I'm starting to see people that were cut back from working overtime, had to work overtime, to 40 hours. I am seeing reports of people going under 40 hours now, losing a day of work, maybe only working 30 hours. A lot of people working 10-hour days because their employer need them to. Now they're down to 8-hour days. There's definitely a cutback on work that is directly related to a lot of companies can't get the parts. They take parts A, B, and C, put them all together, and sell it as a widget. They can't get those parts, so they can't build their widget, so they don't need those guys standing around. Some people have said they have had less work, so they've been doing other little projects around the office, the factory, wherever they worked. A lot of them said that they were cleaning. There will come a time when the cleaning will get eliminated also, because they realize that, hey, we can't bring in those people. I will tell you, a couple people have said in the auto business, they have sent the paint crew home. In the furniture business, they've sent the paint because they're not making enough, and the paint job is the end of it. So some of those people are losing more money than the other people. So that's probably employment. What is it going to look like in 6 months? I think it'll be worse. I think the housing market will slow down. It is slowing down in some areas. It's very slow. Realtors are telling me they have listings. They're not getting any calls. Before, they had calls immediately. Houses went on the market. Houses were bought over purchase price. Now, real estate people are telling me the asking price, they're cutting the asking price down and still not getting the traffic into that house, getting the calls for that house. And this is certain areas of the country. Other areas are hot, hot, hot. Pieces come up for sale, bam, they're bought. I suspect that will be slowly going down. So if you're in a place now, you need to sell your house. You should have done it 6 months ago, but you still have a small window if it's a hot market. If not, you're going to not get as much as you would have got if you sold it 3 months ago. Let's move over into inflation. Inflation's going to still be there, but I can see some deflation hitting the market. Let's hypothetically look at construction. All the construction equipment that's out there that's being used. If construction falls off, there's going to be a lot of equipment out there that people can't make their payments on. That mini excavator, the skid steer, the backhoe, the dump truck, and a lot of that stuff is going to go back, or it's going to be put up for sale so people can get out of that debt or that monthly bill. So those products could go down. Food will continue to go up. Anything of a necessity, be it electric, be it gas, be it natural gas, food, all those prices are going to go up. We're not going to see deflation in those right now at all. Talking about food, there is definitely an orchestrated attempt to limit the production of food, be it fires, be it any other problem. I believe it truly is. I believe we will not have a famine in this country. I believe there will be some shortages that will result in higher prices, but Americans will be able to eat. There will be no problems, in my viewpoint, during the fall, during the winter. The problems will exist in other countries, third world countries, Southeast Asia, areas that are going to have to spend a lot more money to bring in the bulk, the staples to keep their people fed. That's going to cost them lots and lots and lots more. It'll just cost us lots more here. I think our selection of foods that we have come to accustom, walking into a supermarket and having 7 varieties of canned corns, it might only be 3 varieties of canned corns. We're going to adjust our diets. We're going to eat less expensive meats, and we're going to have to eat cheaper meats. Used to be cheaper was chicken. Now chicken is still very expensive. The drought is playing a part of this out west. That is going to definitely be why we're having so much shortages. The lack of water to irrigate in California is definitely a problem that we need to address. So I've talked about the employment, economics. I think right now the poor people are suffering astronomically compared to the middle class and the rich. It always works up. It starts at the bottom because the poorest people, they're trying to get gas in their car, food, and pay the rent. All those things have been affected. The middle class, we have a buffer. We're able to absorb some more inflation, but eventually we can absorb only so much, and then we will cut back, and we'll cut back, and we are cutting back. Things are not being purchased. I talk to people that work at Walmart, Costco, all those big places. People are not buying frivolous things like a new barbecue grill, new cushions for their outdoor sitting area. A lot of things are not selling as quickly as they thought. There is a surplus of certain materials. I believe that we have seen an influx from the ships that were caught up in the ports. That stuff is hitting the market. There's not a demand for them. They understand it. There's a lot of summer goods coming in, be it clothing, and it's immediately hitting the floor, being put on sale. So we're going to have a glut of stuff, and then I truly believe we're going to have a shortage of stuff. Not a shortage where you can't find it. You just won't have the selection available for you. It might not be the color you want. You'll be able to find it, but it's going to cost you, definitely cost you more. Truckers are being squeezed to the breaking point. You can go with the diesel fuel. You can go with the diesel additives. It doesn't matter. Diesel fuel is at a huge cost. Some of this cost is because of our administration with our policies of no drilling, cutting pipelines, sending our oil overseas is a documented fact. So they are not making it easier. They are taking a lot of oil from the strategic reserve and getting rid of it, which is then bad for us in a military sense because we don't have the surplus in case we go into a conflict. So I'm not seeing a huge benefit of releasing all that oil. The oil prices aren't really coming down. They're coming down a little bit if you look at the barrel of oil. I believe that's because we're going into a recession that's worse. I believe China is not consuming as much. Every time they lock down cities, there's a lot less oil spent. A lot of people have said, why are China locking down, changing their economy, changing manufacturing? Some people have said maybe they're getting on a military footing and they're using the disguise of lockdowns and all the slowdowns to revamp plants and production to push stuff in a military way to support their military instead of supporting the civilian desire from Americas and all the stuff they send us. I don't know. I haven't had an opinion on that right now. But it could be true. It could definitely be true. Logistical, the cost of shipping things is astronomical. Eventually it will come down and find a happy medium. But right now it costs a lot of money to ship things overseas or from overseas to us. Education. I haven't come to any conclusion on that. What's going to happen to higher education? The jury's still out on that. So I'm going to take a pass on the education. I know for lower education, kindergarten through 12th grade is going to be catastrophic this year because a lot of teachers are not coming back to work. I've talked to them personally. They're burned out. They're tired. Kids are more rowdy. Kids are more disrespectful. It's not a joy of teaching anymore. You do not get the support of administration with discipline. So a lot of teachers are just going to hang it up, and we'll notice that. You're going to have a shortage of bus drivers. You're going to have shortages of cafeteria workers and support staff. Just like we had last year. It could be worse, though, especially on the teacher side. Let's talk about the military, what I've gleaned. A lot of stuff I get from the military I do not share with you. Just because I don't want to give the enemy anything. It's not classified. And a lot of this stuff is just little blurbs, little data points, and I haven't put everything together yet, so it's hard to explain something when I don't understand it. The military is in decay. The military cannot recruit anyone. That's because of the direction they're going. It's also directed because of the youth do not want to work hard. The youth do not want to get on that path of military service. They don't think it's worthwhile. and rightfully so, in the sense that the military is an arm of a bunch of evil men that like to invade countries and do not have our best interests. Let's talk about Ukraine. Ukraine is lost. The war has already been lost. We're throwing, money at something that we cannot change inside the perimeters of Ukraine. So they have a great opportunity now to say, hey, let's expand the war so we can put more involvement with us and with NATO in. They want to punish Russia. Russia will take whatever they want in Ukraine. Russia was very kind to Ukraine when they first came in, and they did not do their tactics of they bomb and destroy and then they move into the air. Russia did the exact opposite. They kept moving forward faster than their supply chain, and they did involve the total destruction of the area, and then they move in and mop up the few people that are left. Now they have changed their tactics, and they'll sit back and they'll use their long-range artillery, they'll use their long-range missiles, and they will pulverize an area. The defenders will be totally devastated, the morale will be crushed, then they'll move their infantry in and take more property, and they'll keep leapfrogging. If they would have done that from day one, they would have been so much more successful. They probably would have had twice as much real estate under their control. So still supporting Russia, or still supporting Ukraine. We're throwing good money after bad. You can argue that the Ukrainian people need help, and yes, you can. But we could get into a point where we're in direct conflict with Russia, which would not be good for the world, would not be good for us, seeing our military is decimated. This is coming from a person that served. It's coming from my son that is currently serving. The military is more concerned about social justice and social issues than training the troops and providing the equipment. The equipment is broken. The equipment is falling apart. This is facts that I can back up with people that are actually in there that can't get spare parts. And I don't want to go too much into this because this is critical information, that our military could not fight a two-front war at all. Our military could barely fight a one-front war, and if we do not win within the first 30 days, we will have no manufacturing to then push more supplies to our troops. There is none. There is no manufacturing. We rely on all these outside countries to send us natural materials, some components. We put these components together for our military. This is catastrophic. This is treason at the highest level, and that's what I truly believe. Hopefully I summed it up. I've summed it up a bunch of bad stuff. These are challenges that we have to face as an American. We have to face them as your family. Our prepper community will have to face them. There's tough times ahead. There's no easy road, I'm sorry to say. We will be going into a period of stagflation. We're going to have high inflation and not many jobs. It will be a hard time. So you need to get set and prepped up as hard as you can. And all that stuff you're doing now will just alleviate your pain. It will push your pain out. Eventually you'll feel it. You need to think resupply. What is my resupply? To strengthen my position, as in the sense of, can I grow food? Can I manufacture something? Can I get a part-time job? Can I start a side job where I can sell something that I know people are going to need in a recession? So there you go. As quick as I could do it. I hope this helps. Keep prepping. Thanks for watching.